Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is On the Anvil, episode 121. This is the show where we take you behind the scenes here at Dwarven Forge. We show you what we're working on. We show you some of the challenges we're facing, and we might just give you a glimpse of the future. This is a show that never has any technical difficulties, and this is a show where we're mostly going to spend 2 hours drinking our frosty beverages and talking about terrain. We already have our first technical issue.
That's not a technical issue.
Oh. Welcome! We're back from Gen Con!
Yeah, we're back.
We're maybe a little unsleptish, but...
We're back from Gen Con, and we're launching a project tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
It's
a good plan.
Is, 17 hours away.
Woo! Not the accounting.
I don't need to, because the Game Found just automatically puts a countdown on your page, which is pretty sick.
Ow!
Did you hit yourself with the... All right.
No, I am a one-man hype train right now, trying to compete with the one that was created by our awesome viewers.
Yeah, pretty tough time with that, because they got that pretty far.
Would you like a Frosty?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, dude, I would love a Frosty machine in the office.
Oh.
Dude, if we could make Frosties in office.
It'd be amazing.
I guess it's just... What is it? It's just ice cream, right? It's just like
soft serve, I think.
It's soft serve? Yeah, it's just regular soft serve. There's nothing else to
There's
it.
air pumped into it or something. So
I think it's just regular soft serve. They just put it in a cup instead of
they call it a Frosty.
on a cone, yeah.
Oh, brilliant marketing.
Huh.
So anyway, what's going on tonight? What are we doing?
So we're gonna do. It's gonna be a little low key, hopefully. God of Madness, because it's been a lot. I mean, we got back and it was immediately like, all right, we're launching this project tomorrow.
I mean, you've been going full tilt nonstop.
But that's my life, baby. My life's a gym.
You're like Fast and the Furious Part 17.
Yes. I'm so mad that for Fast and Furious 10,
Yeah?
they didn't use like the tagline, "It's time to fast 10 your seatbelts." I'm like really...
Do they wear seatbelts in that?
No, but like the audience should. I'm genuinely pissed about it would have been such a slam dunk for marketing. And I think about it all the time. I never saw this movie. I never saw Central Intelligence. Have you even heard of it?
No.
No, it was not like a movie. It did fine, apparently, but like it seems like a very forgettable movie to me. But I always think about the poster because it had one of the best taglines I've ever seen.
Which is?
Well, so there needs to be a little bit of context for it. So it's a spy action comedy starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart.
Okay.
And so it's playing out the whole comedy of, Dwayne Johnson's this big guy and Kevin Hart's
a little dude.
So the tagline was, this summer, saving the world takes a little heart and a big Johnson.
Wow.
It's an incredible tagline. It's an incredible tagline. They saw that they had the opportunity to do like...
I think Kevin Hart is...
I think about that. I think about that all the time. Like it's the only time they could have used that tagline. And they saw the opportunity and they took it.
Somebody went for it, and it's awesome.
And then they dropped the ball with Fast 10. I don't know.
So we're gonna recap Gen Con tonight.
Yes, that's what we're doing tonight.
What else?
I thought about buying a Central Intelligence movie poster, a poster for a movie I haven't seen, just to have the tagline on my wall.
Or just cut out the tagline and frame that and put it on your wall.
That's fair.
It's even out of context. It's just on the.
Or I print like one of those shirts. One of those shirts. It's like, yeah, I'm a Gemini and I like fishing and shit like that, like one of those shirts, but it just says, have you seen those? They're like AI generated shirts that they will, it doesn't matter.
Man, I'm not ready for the future.
No.
Can we, yeah.
Yeah. Tonight we're going to talk about Gen Con and a little bit of Reforged. We might end early, who's to say?
Yeah.
Because,
sleep.
There's a lot to do.
What else do we...
about an hour into it. I don't want to call it the halfway point because I'm kind of hoping that an hour is more than the halfway point. We'll be doing a giveaway for $50 Dwarven Forge gift card. It is a digital card. Do it every week. Everybody is eligible. That is $50.
Woo! International, anywhere.
And you'll be able to use it on the Wildlands Reforged as well, if you'd like.
Yes.
You just have to contact customer support, and then we can null your gift card and apply the account to your GameFound account. Apply the account, apply the money to your GameFound account. So yeah.
Well, if you are new, welcome. Only a couple of rules are just be nice, and please feel free to interact with us. I mean, obviously you're welcome to lurk, but we are here because we love to hear your questions, your ideas, your jokes, your razzing, your hype, all of it, your emotes, the whole kit caboodle. Also nice to see so many familiar faces. You know what nice thing about Gen Con is I have a few more faces attached to some of the names now. And I saw Odin Forge was back.
Yeah, he got a bunch of faces.
Paul's here. He got a bunch of faces.
Got a bunch of faces to attach to things.
Merc, literally just like we were hanging out with Merc like 4 days ago.
Was
3 days ago. What day is today? I don't know.
Sika Tro was there. I think he was there last year too.
The Kiwi here?
Stargazing Kiwi was there. I don't know if he's here tonight, but yeah.
That was just the best.
Dragos. Nephlite was there. Dragos was there. Animation Giant was there. Subtalon was there. There was a lot of people.
Subtalon was there. I forgot. Oh, there's just it's just an endless stream.
I didn't get to see. I missed him like entirely, but yeah. Yeah, no, there was a lot more people this year than last year, both from our fan base as well as just in general. It was
Well, you know what?
It was like tens of thousands more people than last year.
So we have no news segment tonight because there's really between Gen Con and Reforged, that's all we got. So, but that's a good segue into. I made a top 10 list. It's probably the most ADD top 10 list because it doesn't go in order and there's arrows and I'm like trying to figure out what it's not really top 10. It was kind of 10 things. Did you just wind up?
So there's not 10?
Well, there are 10. I was struggling to get 10.
Did you accidentally wind up with 10? Okay, you tried.
No,
to
I
get to
purposefully.
10.
So the one of the things I like in the
Hidden Mana was there, yeah.
Yes, Hidden Mana was there a lot. Like at the booth, like incessantly. It was great, like in a good way. Well, everywhere you look, there were friendly faces. The Lazy DM, one of the wonderful tips I like before every session is jot down 10 things the players can discover, and 10 is hard, right? You get to like 8 and you're like, oh man, what are the other 2 other things? You know, so it makes you dig a little deep, whatever. But it's a really good exercise. Takes you 5 minutes. Blah blah blah. You know, so I was like, all right, I'm going to do the same thing, 10 things for Gen Con. And it was hard to get to that full 10. And then of course I wanted to kind of make it like a Dave Letterman. Does Dave Letterman still exist? Who's whatever? Do they still do top 10 lists anymore?
Wait, he's still alive, right?
I don't know. But anyways, let's try to make it like a top 10 list.
He was doing because after he stopped late night, he started My Next Guest needs no introduction. Yeah, he's still alive.
Okay, good.
It's Larry King that we lost. I think.
Oh yeah, I mean that guy was 1,000 years old.
He's been 1,000 years old
since he was
like
born.
50 years.
Yeah. Anyway, so
we lost Larry King. Letterman's still around. He's got like a massive beard.
Oh yeah. Fully, he went.
He did a Netflix show for a bit.
Yeah, Odin Forge.
He did like a Netflix interview show for a bit. I don't know if he's still doing that, but yeah.
No.
It's an interesting show. Like honestly, the interviews are when it's off. Like when it got off network TV, like his interviews got a lot more interesting. Honestly.
So he could just do whatever he wanted. And
yeah.
Actually have like meaningful things instead of jokes.
He has a podcast. Yeah, there we go.
So, all right. So I have a list of 10, I don't know, memories of Gen Con, things of discoveries, moments. I was sort of thinking of 10 things I learned from Gen Con, but it kind of just drove it. So, all right, so number 10, which I think people were mentioning in the chat before we launched, was Gen Con is big. Mm-hmm. Like, if you haven't ever been, it's hard to describe the enormity, but it is overwhelmingly large. Like, you cannot see everything, much less do everything. It is like just at another scale. And this year, the numbers were back. We were hearing anywhere from 70,000 to 85,000 people. Like, it was just like, it was like pre-COVID numbers of just like absolute onslaught of nerdery. It was like every like gamer everywhere. It was just like the absolute onslaught.
Which was wild because it still felt big last year. And then this one was like orders of magnitude bigger.
Thursday when those doors opened, it was like, whoa, buckle up. This is that. And it's, you know, it's a lot like on the receiving end, right? When you're in a booth and there's this endless sea of humanity, it's like, it's a lot to take in. I don't know, I can't imagine being on the outside, like being in that huge packed crowd and in on the lines and whatever, but it is like, it's a lot. So like, you know, one of the amazing things is Gen Con is, there's everything you can imagine. It's so big. And then the downside is it's so massive. It's like, it's a lot. Like it's not for everybody. Like it's a, you know, it'll be a lot to handle. But I just forget like how big it is. Like, and they were back in Lucas Oil Stadium this year. I didn't even get that far. I didn't get anywhere except for the exhibit hall, honestly, and then like a secret back room to do an interview with Paul. Same. And it was like big.
Yeah, I walked through like the gaming hall a little bit because we had some friends demoing their game on our stuff there. But yeah, I didn't have nearly as much time to walk around and see things as I did last
And
year.
there's playtest rooms, and there's other gaming halls, and there's secret things, and there's lectures and panels, and
Yeah.
and costume contests and things, and people build like it is just like that you can't see everything. It is, but you know, if you're into something, chances are there's going to be someone there doing a thing like it with it. It's like staggering.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get through the whole vendor hall, and we were in there for 4 days straight. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to do that there just wasn't time to do.
Yeah.
More so than last year. Show us your Lorcana. I did not touch Lorcana.
So if you do go, you know, you'll never have a shortage of things to do except for wait in line for Lorcana because that's, you know, stupid.
That was wild.
People were lining up at 6 o'clock at night, right, for the next morning. Just bonkers.
It really kind of, because they were trying to figure out what to do about the flow too, because it was such
They
massive
maybe
groups.
weren't expecting such a.
They had people they had like lines running for like a half hour. Yeah, it was really rough. And it's wild because the closest thing I'd seen to that was like at Adepticon. Games Workshop always does like exclusive model releases. So on the first day of Adepticon, like
Lines.
everybody immediately just makes a beeline like for Games Workshop like immediately, and like so the year when we did Adepticon last year, like the first day, like most of our talking to people was as they were in a line that was long enough that it came back to our booth. So while they're standing there waiting
They're
to get into Games
stuck
Workshop,
talking to
they're just looking at our terrain.
But that's also that's like single-digit thousands.
Oh yeah,
people,
compared
right?
compared
Like
to it's magnitude. The scale is massively different for Gen Con. But yeah.
But anyway, Gen Con it's something. If you haven't seen it, it is something, and there's always something there. But also, man, it is something. Like it takes a lot. Like I'm still wiped out from the sort of the endless. It's the sounds of people. The thing. It's just like it's an onslaught. But pretty awesome. All right, number.
Rick from Path of the Brush is here. Says it was great to see you from Gen Con.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9 in
Number
my
9.
vague top 10 sort
Number
of
9.
learnings, musings on Gen Con.
That was the Beatles thing, right?
I forget which one was the Beatles thing?
Like Revolution 9 or something, and there's just
Yes.
a voice at the end going like, Number 9. Number 9. All right. Yeah.
Then you can do numbers.
Remember
8.
that, kids? Yeah.
We've got. It's a nice reminder that we have brand presence. I forget how big people think we are big. At places like Gen Con, almost everybody knows Dwarven Forge. It's weird. We're like a household name there with a size that is so much bigger than like their actual team. Like the understanding and expectations of us is so different than the realities. It's weird to grapple with.
We consistently punch like way above our weight when it comes to like projects, and then they see like.
We're 20 people. We're like a little tiny like.
Well, because most companies too, like with conventions, they'll have a convention crew that is separate from.
Well, they hire some mercenaries to come in and.
Yeah. Well, with this, it's like no, this is like half our team is here right now.
We had 8 out of 20 people in the booth. Like, yeah. So it's a sort of surreal reminder of the perception of our brand is just, I don't know, I still can't quite wrap my head around it.
It's also interesting because I would say like our actual customer base is fairly small just because it's a niche of a niche, but like the awareness, like everybody that watches Critical Role knows Dwarven Forge just from years of.
And a few people watch Critical Role. Like it turns out, it's catching on. Yeah. It's growing up. It's like
a handful.
No, it's really every time it's sort of a weird like I'll be introducing myself something that with Dwarven Forge and we make training. They're like, oh, we know who you are. And you're like, everybody, it's wild. I don't know what to make of that one, but it's just a reminder. I did a clever thing here. I had to get some arrows to get it over there. So the flip side of it is number 8. There's still a whole bunch of people that don't know we exist also. Yes. Despite the fact that we have a massive brand presence, it is one of the best parts of Gen Con is watching people like roll out and see it go "Whoa," do the cartoon thing where they go wooga, like their eyes are coming out and it's a whole thing. Like, watching people get their minds blown the first time they see DF is amazing. And then it's gonna come in like, all right, you gotta tell me, what is this? What or there's the people I've heard of you, but I never actually saw this or know it. But it's like, it's so fun to see people see Dwarven Forge and then to give them the spiel, like, oh, you want to know, here's the thing, it's like Dwarvenite doing, throw it on the ground, do the whole thing, like magnets and LEDs, and you just watch it each time, and they're like, what, there's all this, it's like, it's so fun getting to introduce people to this. It never gets old.
Well, it's interesting too, like when people have heard of us, but their assumptions about what the product is, they might be familiar with other terrain, and so the amount of people who still like think that our stuff is 3D printed is actually like staggering.
The number's going up.
Yeah. Somebody was saying.
What is that?
There's really nothing else like it at the con. Hidden Man was saying. I'm like, I think that's another thing too. Is like because there isn't anybody else who makes the terrain the way that we do. I think we're the only ones doing this whole complicated like injection molding process.
There was not much terrain at the convention.
There was less this year than last year.
Wish Kids didn't have a single thing in their booth. There was Monster Fight Club. There was
Monster Fight Club.
Somebody 3D printing.
Last year, I remember walking around.
Galadoria's there, of course. They're awesome.
Yeah, Galadoria was there.
Monster Fight Club's awesome.
I remember like last year I walked around and I saw like 4 other like modular terrain systems, and like none of them were here this year.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know if they just decided Gen Con wasn't profitable or if they went under or what, but I was actually surprised like looking around. There was a lot less terrain presence this year than last year.
Yeah, it's it's just not a lot there, but man, it's fun to show people. Did you have a favorite, like showing people, showing someone DF stuff and having them just like go, wait a sec, like?
One of my favorite things to do is always taking a vaulted dungeon wall and then like holding it like this and just like squeezing so that the floor and the a pro wrestler, because it makes me look strong.
Yeah, no, that's impressive. I want to.
But then it also like bends back and it's like, oh wow, look at that. Oh wow, it really didn't break. All that thing, that's all. Like the durability is usually like the biggest thing. Oh, the other thing, there are a number of people who like
durability gag is like
durability gag is very fun.
Yeah.
There's also I was on the reliquaries a lot this last time just because it was by the store section.
It was a showstopper, right?
Reliquaries were intensely popular.
Yeah.
Reliquaries were intensely popular. And the amount of times that people, because I was letting people pick them up, because like
you want people to touch the stuff.
It says don't touch all over it, but like
no, but you want, because then they feel cool because they're breaking the rules, and it's like
Well, the amount of time like they went to pick it up and they tried to like gently like pull on it, and it didn't come off. And they're like, oh wait, it's magnetized. It's like,
dude,
there's, like,
the magnets, when you put a piece on the thing, you hand them a piece, and then you hold on a train, and they're like, wait a second, it's the coolest. The
thing that actually, my favorite thing that happened consistently was people being surprised by the prices of reliquaries.
Yeah.
And thinking like, wow, this is actually like way below what I expected it to be for like this kind of display collector's item.
Yes.
Like sort of thing. That was a thing. Like when we did the reliquaries Kickstarter, we had a lot of people looking at it in terms of like comparing it to terrain, where like the point was about like the amount of coverage you were getting, and it's just like it's just not what the product. Like these pieces are like more detailed. We have more undercuts. We have like the point is for this to be like a display item. And like for display items for collectors,
people
stuff,
weren't balking like at the price.
We actually like priced it like very affordably for like the actual kind of product it was like designed for. And then the terrain was like a secondary feature. Yeah, when you compare like the ram pillars to the ancient pillars, like it's like more expensive for similar coverage, but that's because
it's also 7 years later, and
7 years later the sculpt is way more complicated.
Yeah.
Like it's, I don't think you would want to make a display out of the ancient pillars as much as the ram pillars, and that which is like
they don't
have
as much
point.
Character and my favorite Dave Witek from Garage Hammer.
I was going to bring that up.
Warhammer podcast came.
That was a really cool
demoing for him, like because he's hyper enthusiastic, right? He is like in it, right? He's walking around everything with wide eyes. He wants to do something, everything. So like Devin Graham is like just like the greatest. You know how you do like stand-up comedy? Are you familiar with stand-up comedy? 'Cause
No.
you know when you have like that really loud person in the front that's just like laughing, is like thing. I've never done stand-up comedy, but he was like that guy. You know, he's just like he was so like in it to be wowed. He's like everything. He was like, oh yes, everything. It was like you could just like say, hey, look, it's a piece. He'd be like, oh, it's a piece. You know, it was like, oh, it's delightful. I think it's everything on showing people this stuff. Do you have any other? Before we go to number 7,
I want to touch on the Garage Hammer thing real quick.
Let's do it. We have no agenda other than the
I
stupid
don't know if
list.
it's actually going to be a bullet item list for you.
No,
or
I
not.
don't think it's on here. So let's take.
I really felt how much more our messaging has improved with this con compared to last time, and part of that was listening to the Garage Hammer. If you guys haven't listened to Garage Hammer, Nate's actually been like a fan of them for a long time and has like been listening to it. It's
trying to bone up on Warhammer, and it's a really fun, passionate, positive podcast about Warhammer, and they go through all the books on lore, and they just like love everything, which is like my speed. Instead of like complaining about it, they just like love everything.
Yeah. It's the day 3 of Gen Con. Like it's that episode of the podcast. They were recording like daily like recap podcasts while they were going.
52 minutes in, they talk about Dwarven Forge.
Yeah, around 52 minutes in. If you guys want to check that out, you can see it like on their site, or you can also find it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's a very cool thing to listen to. They talk about us for like 5 minutes because genuinely they moved through everything that we learned we should focus on when we went to Adepticon. Because when we went to Adepticon, like Mason, Hamster, and I, we came back and we were like, okay, these are the questions that we were always being asked at Adepticon, and like this is so we think like when we're talking about trying to appeal to people who are like war gamers, this is stuff we need to hit on. And then like 5 minutes into it, he's looking at it, he's like, yeah, I thought that this was just for like Dungeons and Dragons, but they had like a Legion build set up there, and I looked at that and it was like, oh wait, I could use this.
Well, that was the thing. So Chris is like, we gotta have war game build there. So you and Hamster put together this build and Hamster painted up all the Star Wars Legion. Right, he's got Wookiees and Rebels and Stormtroopers, and it had stopping power. Right, people walk by and go, wait a second, whoa, you can do Star Wars, and it did that thing where the light bulb, and they go, oh, I can use this for other things just by putting the different miniatures on there. God, it was awesome. So many people were just stopping and like staring at it, and they were staring at the Star Wars minis more than the terrain, which is fine. It was like
that's also the benefit to taking like one of the most popular IPs on the planet and just dropping it on your table. that helps a lot.
Yeah.
But then he was talking about how he walked around it and he saw the Free Blades Wargame build, and he was looking at that and he's like, cool, this is a thing that is set up for scatter. And he looked at that and he thought like exactly what I want him to, which is when I play Warhammer, I could use like these escarpments, these like cliffs, like or these crags, like I could use these as terrain features on the board, just in like little bits, like do a rock mount here, do one here, and like that could be objectives or terrain features, blocks on the side. And it's like that's exactly
what was fun was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I talked to him for probably 20 minutes or something. I showed him everything, blah, 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 talk about this, whatever. But the things that he remembered, or at least the things that he talked about on the podcast that night, were all of the things that you distilled down from Adepticon were the exact things that he remembered. Because I went through everything. I was showing him all the modular these and the whole kit and caboodle, but the things he remembered were exactly like your bullet point list of the things that I think wargamers are going to like, or is exactly what he went down. It was amazing.
Can get it pre-painted. Don't got to worry about it breaking. Can like very quickly, like easily make clumps, but also be flexible enough that it's like it's not one paper mache mountain that you then have to like figure out how to store and looks the same every time.
Looks good.
Like, yeah.
Pre-painted Dwarvenite. Go.
And it can actually build scatter because I think for a lot of people we are so hard coded to D&D because they know about it through Critical Role and stuff that they assume it's just for that.
Well, and that's also been our messaging forever. It's like terrain for D&D.
For a long time, like every time we've like leaned into promoting stuff, it was leaning into like D&D, not just like as a game, but even like the tone and the way we would talk about it. It was very much built around like the messaging that was used to make like D&D modules and stuff.
Every time we showed it was D&D. Modules we do D&D.
Yeah.
Stats D&D. You know what? With sci-fi coming up in the spring, we're going to
figure out how to make it 5e compatible. Yeah.
Still got it. He's on Slam, still got it. Boom. All right. So that was number 8.
Yeah.
Number 7 thing. The 7th thing. No, I guess the 4th thing. Going backwards. Number 7. that I learned from, I can't count, from Gen Con. I really noticed this year that the demographics are changing, right?
Yes.
It was Gen Con, of all the conventions we go to, Gen Con always felt the most like the old guard. And this year, I felt like we kind of hit a tipping point where it was younger, it was a little more diverse, it was a lot more queer, it was like more forward thinking than it had been in previous years. And it felt like kind of the future had arrived at Gen Con in a palpable way, right? It was just, I don't know how it had shifted so much from the previous year, but it just felt different. And the positivity, there was just sort of, I feel like previously there was kind of, I don't know how to say, a sense of sort of entitlement and grumbling, but there was like kind of there wasn't as positive a vibe. Like this year felt very positive. I don't know how to like quantify it, but it was
We
like
had we had less
there was
people.
a different energy.
We had less people who came to the booth specifically to criticize us.
There were less angry people and more people that were just like, I love this, tell me more. Like,
Yeah.
come give us hugs.
Because there's always,
Yeah.
most other conventions we walked away with somebody who was just like, it seems like they came there just to let us know that they didn't like us, and it's like, you could just like not do this. you could just I don't want to spend 5 minutes
Listen to
talking
you
about how
complain.
you don't like us when I could be talking to anybody else right now.
And don't get me wrong, I like good criticism, right? If someone says, hey, I can't think of a good thing to critique, hey, why haven't you made water tiles? Well, maybe that's, but I don't know. Like if they're,
I still just think about like at Adepticon when a guy like yelled at me for like 10 minutes because like 6 years ago, Sandra Garrity didn't sell him the castle from the Gen Con display. He's like, I was gonna give him like $7,000 cash to take it, and they wouldn't let me. And I was like, first off, Sandra Garrity didn't have the authority.
No,
to do
it
that.
was there's just some nonsense that people get angry about.
It was like, what am I supposed to do about that? And he's like, well, he was like, can I take this stuff with me? And I'm like,
no,
these unreleased Wildlands prototypes that aren't in the store. Like, no, you can't take
make
this
up
stuff.
for something from 6 years ago that you didn't do. Can I take your prototype?
You can't. He's like, I got 2,000 cash. I'll do it for you right now. He's just like one of those guys who just thinks that like having money means that he owns people. And
that was old Gen Con vibe versus.
It's just very weird.
Yeah.
And yeah, he was just like really bad. I'm like, this stuff's not
but
even
this
the story.
happened. This has happened. These are real stories.
Yes, this was happening at Adepticon, and Mason and Amster were just kind of like floating around like behind me. It's just like, what do we do about this?
There's been angry people who were like, why won't you sell me the entire table right now?
It's just like, that's not.
Well, we don't know what.
Why would you think that's feasible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a few people that were angry we weren't selling anything. Like there's definitely a little, going with that, but okay, which I get, right? You go to a con, you want to get some fun stuff and whatever. Or there were some very polite people who said, hey, are you selling Dwarven Knight by the pound anymore? And
at least with that, I get it. 'Cause it's like, okay, you remember that from the past.
There was not a single person that was grumpy about it, though. They just asked nicely. They said, hey, are you doing it? And we said, no, it's too much for us to do point of sale, and we don't want to then have to charge sales tax forever, and it's just a big strain on the team because there's more stuff we have to do and whatever. And I said, oh, okay, that makes sense. Sorry, it was fun. I wish we could do it again. People were like, the vibe was good. Like it was very, just very positive across the boards.
Copy Hoppy says we have an FU number where you say like, yeah, you can buy the table. It's 500,000. Like it's just make it just absurdly
Canadian
high.
though. We'll take the edge off it. Yeah. It's like
it's 500,000 yen, but
Yeah, and by the pound was cool, and it was a fun thing for people to do, but it required generally one or two people the entire con to be manning that station, and then someone to doing the checkout and the whole thing, and it was like, it was a lot. We're trying, big picture, we're trying to find ways to make everything that we do sustainable and not just drain. Right? You don't want to walk away from the con just completely wiped out, walk away from the Kickstarter completely wiped out, like all the things like, and we did it this year, right? Because of Mace's fantastic planning, and everybody in the team really doing their part to troubleshoot and problem solve and work as a wonderful team. Like we got through it without it. Like it was a good experience, at least for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Thought about selling.
I know Toby said he never wanted to go to Gen Con again, and then after this one, I was like, that was awesome. When's the next one?
Elvern's wondering. Elvern, you were also there, weren't you? I think you also came by. Oh, and Jeffrey showed up too. We got to meet Jeffrey this time.
Yes.
Yeah. What was I about to say? Oh yeah,
Oh,
Elvern was
somebody's-
wondering if have we thought about selling reliquaries at conventions? We might have a path to that. That was one of
We're
the
working on it.
that was one of the meetings that we
Yeah.
had while we were there. So I think that's gonna be happening fairly soon.
We might have to, yeah. If especially, here's the thing. If this board game works out, and
The board game's gonna have to be a convention seller. Like, yeah.
sci-fi core sets and things like, there's just more and more things that are going to be good convention stuff. Like, we're probably going to have to sell stuff to someone. The sales tax thing is also, it's going to just, at some point, everything is just going to have sales tax anyway. The internet's catching up, so it's like, it's going to happen anyway. So we'll get there. This is a good question.
Wait, board game? Yeah, we're working on a board game that we're hoping to launch the campaign for next year. And we're hoping that we'll be able to demo it at conventions next year. We aren't far enough along to really show much about it, so we can't really tell you much, but we have said we're working on a board game with Stephen Baker, the guy that made Hero Quest.
Hero Forge.
He made Hero Forge.
Too many
guy
heroes.
that made Hero Quest and Heroescape. God, this one also has Hero in it.
All the heroes.
This guy's got a
Jeffrey's asking about the water
overlay
texture
trick
overlay
that Toby did.
So good.
So
cool.
We had pictures and stuff of it posted that I think you can see. I did a walkthrough video on our Instagram. Yeah, like we've got it. If you check our socials, you can see it. It was a really cool trick. We don't have it built up anymore here.
Well, we've got 20 boxes full of Dwarvenite in the back room that haven't been opened yet that came back from the con all willy-nilly.
What about a partner vendor that has the resources to staff their own booth? Hey,
Bingo.
that's what we're looking at for
Bingo,
reliquaries.
bingo.
So we think that that's going to be happening by the end of the year. We're thinking it's going to be happening, and we'll see how that does. Because we had a lot of people who walked away from the booth saying that, like, with the reliquaries card, saying like that they're going to buy some after the con. So I need to check in and see how many of those people followed through. But the reliquaries,
a lot of them didn't because there's so much good to
it's
look
easy
at
to
and
forget
go
about
and-
it.
Yeah.
Well, the reliquary, and a lot of people are also looking at it and going like, "Oh, this is a really good birthday present for somebody
Yeah.
I know," or like
Yeah.
Christmas present, which is the point. That's
Yeah.
that's the point of those. Is they're supposed to be better impulse buys than what our general terrain is,
Yes.
and more general. Like you don't need to be a DM to use them. You don't need all that stuff.
They're facts.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like we're working on it. I feel like Norse Foundry would be a nice partner for reliquaries, especially
Yeah.
since it's going to be paired.
Go figure.
Oh yeah, huh? I wonder about that, huh?
Maybe we had a good
Yeah.
relationship with them.
Yeah, if only we had a good relationship with Norse Foundry and specifically had a meeting
The
about
best about
yeah,
that.
if only
At the convention.
if only yeah, if
Dwarven
only
forgery.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paul. This is a side, not one of my numbers. It was really fun to do the interview with Paul. Did he put it up yet? Do you know?
It's up, yeah.
Or not the interview, the questions, like the
We had,
Discord
we
questions.
had a number of them. Paul did one, Gallant Goblin did one.
There were a bunch of little of YouTube.
Night
Who's the one you just
Hero.
put up?
Night Hero did one.
Todd Michael Putnam did a short one.
Yeah.
But
We
the
need to-
Discord list from Paul is a really good one.
We
Maybe
need to-
we shouldn't do it on Saturday night after 3 days of straight con. As it was,
Yeah, the scheduling.
I was dying.
The scheduling we gotta
Yeah,
take into consideration.
yeah.
That
But
was
it's
also the busiest day at the booth.
It was bonkers.
And yeah.
It was really. It's fundamentally though nice to be able to just go through a cool a list of questions and get you guys some answers.
Yeah, Estelle, you can find
Yeah.
pictures of it if you check our. If you check our Twitter or our Instagram, we were showing off a lot of stuff at the booth. You should be able to find it there. If not, I'm sure somebody on the Discord.
Paul
we'll be
made
able
me
to
a purple heart, a pen out of purple heart wood.
Nice.
Yeah. It's in my pocket on quick draw. Hanging out with some Sharpies. All right,
Yeah. Let's go through your list.
we got off the anvil. That is a great idea.
Good thing is no one's walking
So-
off with any of your pallets at the con because we don't got any.
The Dungeon Dudes also recommended that if we ever wanted to transition into adult content, we can keep the name On the Anvil, and it writes itself.
We already make adult toys.
Facts.
Yeah.
All right, number 6. Number 6 and number 7 are or number 6 and number 5 kind of
Man, this
overlap.
really
It's like a Venn.
this
What?
really is a rough list.
Yeah. Number 6 and number 5 are kind of overlappy, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. So,
Letterman never took a half hour to get through half his list.
also he had writers. Is that where like
fair.
the two of us are trying to like limp our way through 2 hours with this. Like, that's very good.
Yeah.
Um, uh, there's so many wonderfully inspiring people there, right? So the thing that kicked us off was Steve Jackson of Steve Jackson Games stopped by the booth. I got to talk to him for a while, and it was so inspiring because he's got to be 70 at this point, and he has a spring in his step and a twinkle of joy in his eyes and whimsy, and was just like still so inspiring and so like just in it and has the love for it, and was like it was awesome to see. And I'm like, man, I want to be like that when I am 70. And I asked him what he was most proud of in his illustrious career as a game designer. And what do you think he said?
Sorry, I was handling something else. What's going
Okay,
on?
ask the internet. What do you think he said?
The gray mohawk.
Hey, Stargazing Kiwi's here.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, we got to talk to him.
All right. Well, I'll spoil it.
I wasn't prepped before the stream. So.
Exactly. So I said, "What are you most proud of in your career?" And he didn't say, "Oh, GURPS or Car Wars or that we're still alive or whatever." He said that I've taken good care of my team. I was like, that is it, right? So he's like, he's in it for creating, very similar to what we're trying to do here, right? Just create a bubble of safety for, like, you can't control the world outside, but like you can try and do your best to like do right by the people you've got, and that was awesome. So, but there's so many, right? So he was sort of the cast that's running thing, but there were so many inspiring people, like, Justice was there, and Gabe Hicks, and Mercer stopped by, and every so many inspiring, wonderful people you remember. I mean, there's gatekeepers and nonsense and grumpy old people, but there are so many good, bright lights in this community. It's just Was anybody that like gave you that extra little inspirational burst?
Hanging out with Gabe. I got to hang out with Gabe for a while, which was nice. It's really cool, and it's really cool to see him. Like the last couple of years, things have like really been blowing up for him, and it's been really nice to see.
And he's just so warm and like, yeah.
Just an incredibly kind person, and none of that's changed as he's like grown either, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting to see Gabe and Elise. Annika,
I love her.
from Hero Forge, she's phenomenal. She's
so fun.
The best hire Hero Forge could have ever made.
Well, and this I'll transition right into number 5, which is it's a nice reminder of what a community the gaming industry is, right? It's a relatively small industry in the grand scheme of things, and you end up crisscrossing paths with the same people, and it's so nice to see those same friendly faces, right? We saw Annika in PAX East, and here she is there, and we're like, there's some guy from the Lego booth came up and was like, "Oh, thanks last year."
The Lego guy, he was one of the
first. You gave us screws last year because we were missing some for our booth, and like, those little like. Those are the things you remember. It's just like this wonderful small
Lego guy came by before the con even started.
Yeah.
It
was like Tuesday or something. We were like, yeah.
He just came check us out like while we were setting the booth up.
And then there's just like, you get to see the people in the community grow, right? Like, Crystal Sully has some cool NDA stuff I can't talk about. That's just she's like going through the roof. Like Justice Armand years ago was just some fan that stopped by the booth and was like saying, "Hey, I wrote this free supplement I'd love to give to you," whatever. Now he's writing for Wizards, doing well. Like Kevin Kennedy was like, "Oh, you guys sculpting school." Now they're doing well. Like this guy I used to LARP with is now writing the next thing of Hackmaster or Iron Crown. Like all these people. Like it's so fun to see the community continue to grow and succeed, and like. The Dungeon Dudes are just building their own studio now. Like their channel is blowing up. They're like all these folks just keep growing, and you get to keep crisscrossing and learning about people's successes, and it's
well. And now that I've been doing this for a while too, like I'm able to the DGS Games guys that make Freeblades. Like we had the booth next to them at Adepticon last year, and I've seen them like 3 cons like since, and just like always checking in. They're working together on some stuff, and just like. The fact that they've been making this game for like a decade, and like it's just a thing that they've been doing and doing multiple conventions a year. Like, and going around. It's just like a group of like just really nice, like fun people who are doing this, like, and they all have like their day jobs and stuff, and they've just been doing this thing on top of that,
continuing to
and
push it
like,
out, and
yeah,
yeah,
it's
and they're getting more and more traction and growing, and like,
yeah, and they're making it happen. Like
Yeah.
they're making like the and yeah, I don't know, a lot of small. Patrick, the guy that writes mazes, has also been like
he's
really
like,
cool.
he's so good.
I got to really talk to the pirate board guys for a bit this year.
You've been carrying that book around like a Bible today.
I've been like reading it like in
Yeah.
between things. They have tables for it's fun just like seeing like what stuff they came up with like
Yes.
I want us to run that game really bad. It looks
really
very
fun.
fun.
That guy Rusty, who does a 16-foot war game build with a big giant free for all this year, got it up to 22 feet, and you see he's like, yeah, I managed to get to 22, and I would have gotten 24, but they wouldn't let me go past the thing, and like just all this seeing the same inspiring faces, and people are continuing to have success.
It's fun to
just,
see that. Well, because yeah, I don't know, and it's fun to talk to like people like DGS or Patrick or Limithron, and then also like have like Mercer come by the booth and you talk with him, and it's like we're getting the same vibes. Like
Yes.
it's not like it's
Yes.
like this is
It's
somebody
the
who's
same-
like considered like one of like the top people like in like the industry, and then like an indie developer, and it's like no, there's the same like energy, there's the same just like passion for
yes.
what this thing can be, and like finding a way to kind of give back to like the gaming space that they love and have like been in for like so long, and
Trying
like
to lift the community up, like all
Yeah.
just collectively. It's really
and it's just, and I guess it's
yeah.
the big thing, just kind of reaffirming that desire to like like find like the good people, find the people who are like really putting like a lot
Yes.
of positive work and energy out there, find ways to work with them to help elevate
support
them,
them,
to help
yep.
like amplify like what they're doing, because we're trying to, as we're restructuring things here and kind of trying to grow like a lot of what we do, like a lot of stuff that we've been talking about is like how do we find ways to devote more time to using like the platform that we've built to
how do we
highlight, like,
amplify voices and
highlight
signal
independent
boost?
creators
Yep.
that are doing cool stuff. We've been talking about like wanting to like Letitia has been talking a lot about wanting to start up like doing regular charity events and stuff again, and like finding like
How do we
finding
give
ways
back
to like
and support the community and to do our part to be a positive
Yeah.
force of change for the future?
yeah, finding ways to like be
Yeah.
active in the community outside of just selling products. Like yeah.
And you get to see what other people are doing and their efforts and the thing. It's just it's so good. It just gets me, it refills those sort of the emotional gas tank, the spiritual, like the thing, like you're just like, we're in this small part of this community, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
And you especially if you can dodge the bad parts of the community, you're like, all right, this is just the best.
Yeah, and that's the main thing too, is just
Yeah.
doing it. It's having that motivation behind it, right? It's having
Yes.
like the wanting to put good things out there over the associating based off of does this person's following going to benefit me, or
Yeah.
is this going to?
Right.
And trying to avoid people who are interacting that way, and focusing on the people where it's like you're just really really passionate about this game you're making, or about like, and that's
It's the best,
That's
right?
the
When
nice
someone
stuff,
can tell
yeah.
you this thing and they just see the spark in their eye and they're like,
all right.
what?
Syracuse. Forgot about this. Syracuse, I posted. If you remember, during Lowtown, he was absent for a lot of it because he was having a baby.
Yes.
And
Oh,
right.
you should post up.
Yeah,
the,
I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna get the. I posted it in our Slack, but I'll put it in here real quick. They've gotten a lot of support, which is fantastic. I'm not gonna go into a ton of details right now, but they're having like a family emergency that is pretty rough.
Go check out the GoFundMe.
Yeah.
You get the. Did anybody spot Mercer in disguise? He was
pretty well disguised, and obviously
He
we
was there,
weren't going to like
around.
blast out that Mercer was there, because
Yeah.
he's trying to be able to enjoy the floor and everything.
Yeah, he was.
But I don't know, because like he's
Well
been
hidden.
a fan of Dwarven Forge since like before Critical Role.
Before he
Like,
was Matt Mercer in all
Yeah.
caps. It was and he still remains like, I mean, that's his, his thing is he is still, as a superstar as he is, he's still a DF fan, right? He backs all the Kickstarters. He's never asked us for free stuff.
That's the
he'll
thing.
always,
People think that we cut them a bunch of deals and send them a bunch of stuff. And
no,
everything.
he
It's
backs with his own money.
Yeah.
We occasionally would send him a free thing if he's like, oh, you're out of stock of this. Is there, the same as a lot of people ask for in customer service support, do you have any of these, whatever. And then we'll often just send it, or say, well, we'll get that to you.
Yeah.
Whatever. But he's never once asked for it. He always he's always, and every time he talks to me, he's like, oh, you guys are just so inspiring. Like, just keep doing this cool stuff. Like, every time I open a box, I get excited. Like, yeah, it's the coolest.
Mm-hmm.
That was number 5.
Yeah, we're really nursing this list.
What's that?
We're really nursing this list.
I don't know. What else are you going to do? Sleep?
Yeah.
But you know what it is? There's so much happens in those 4 days plus the days of setup and breakdown that you're trying to, these are just sort of like touch points to remind us of all the things that were happening there, because it is just this
trying to encapsulate a week into,
especially a Gen Con week where it's just it's
stuff
just
constantly
nonstop.
happening, like between like booth stuff, fan interactions, meetings, just hanging out with like other creators, or it's like reconnecting with like friends and everything,
Dinners
and trying to keep those things up.
lunches
Dinners
and
God, the
parties
food.
and things.
Man.
Oh, a lot of food.
I'm really glad we went back to Bosphorus.
When?
Bosphorus was.
Oh, you mean this?
the
Yeah,
Turkish
I thought you
place.
meant again in the same.
Oh, no,
that place is awesome.
I'm glad we went back because we went there last year. I'm glad we went back
Oh, it's so good.
this year, because it's just a house that this family converted into a Turkish restaurant. It's very clearly just a house that they converted into a restaurant, and
It's-
like
the food's so good.
the owner is like one of the
He's
servers.
hilarious.
So he just comes out and he's like the whole time he's just like razzing us. He speaks like 15 languages.
He's totally just
a thick Turkish accent, and like it's.
and
the
the
food is incredible. Like I'm really glad we went back. That's one
it's
of
too
my
much.
favorite.
Yeah,
It's-
I really
yeah.
think Akuma's Corner is my other.
That's
fave,
also really
that,
cool. It's like a metalhead like rocker
heavy
bar.
metal bar with
Um,
all the burgers are named after band. And there's the Slayer and the Metallica and the Mastodon and the. Was there a Gojira? I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
It was everything. The drinks were like everything, like ridiculous. What was the burger you had? You and Toby had this like.
It was the Cairo. It was
Bonkers.
named after. It was named after a local band whose members actually worked there. The Cairo Jig, the Cairo something like that.
Something.
It's a wild burger. It was wild. It was. I had to get it because Toby and I were both just curious, so we had to get it.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch butter.
It had, I think. It had. Was it cauliflower? It had some vegetable. Either cauliflower.
It had cheddar.
Yeah, it had white cheddar. It had. Oh God! It was a very.
Oh, it was Brussels sprouts, right? It was Brussels
I think it
sprouts,
was
like fried Brussels
I
sprouts.
took a
It
picture of
had
it.
it had cinnamon toast crunch butter on
I
the
took
burger.
I took a
It had,
picture of
like,
it.
that place is so.
I'm gonna read it real quick. I took a picture of it on the menu to send my girlfriend so she could pray for me, yeah, it was genuinely, it was wild to me like how well it actually all worked together.
Just that place. Oh, this burgers. Oh, the beers. Is it good?
The
Like
Cairo
100 beers?
Jag,
Okay.
golden raisin steak sauce, cinnamon toast crunch butter, 2 slices of white cheddar,
2, not 1, but 2.
fried Brussels sprouts, and mini bloomin' onions. And
And
then just
my
on a
bun.
patty and bun and all that.
Yeah.
Wild. It all worked extremely well.
Yeah.
it
Both
was
you and
delicious.
Toby says it's the greatest burger he's ever had in his life.
It was
amazing.
very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just delightful. All right, so that was that was
that
episode
number
number
4, the
5.
food?
No, that was just some side tangent. I don't know how we got there. All right, number 4. I mean, this should be obvious. Giveaways are awesome. I love being able to hand people their first piece of Dwarvenite. Giving a kid a miniature. The badge banners, like they were gone
We
in
flew
24
through those,
hours.
I think by
like,
the end of Friday. It was either the end of Friday or very early Saturday we were at.
not even the end of Friday. It was halfway through Friday. We were gone like.
I felt really bad for the people who came in.
We made
after.
Dwarven Army badge banners, and people love badge banners, right? By the
Yes.
end of the thing, there's people with like badge banners down to the floor, like they're like a Rip Van Winkle beard. They're pure, like it is like such a fun, shiny thing. Like we have to get like 1,000 next year because they did not last. It was it was an experiment. Mace said, I want to run out. I want to use them all up and run out and feel good that we used them rather than have too many and whatever. And they were gone in a day and change.
They went faster than we expected.
Yeah. No, but it's really nice to be able to give people like the little Dwarven Forge banner and give just giving all this stuff out so people walk away feeling good. Especially because you walk around that floor, you're probably gonna spend hundreds of dollars by the time you get through that exhibition hall. So if you get a little thing free, it takes the edge off. The my favorite giveaway story was. Some couple came to the booth, and they had a little girl who was like 2.5 or something. Like, she could talk and she could walk, but she had a wagon they would like carry around in because it's like a lot, whatever. And so I gave her a Town Guard Defender mini. Those are sort of my things I'd love to give these kids so they have something fun they could walk around and enjoy the floor with. And then somebody was like asking me a question, whatever. So I turned and was like, doing something with somebody, and then I turned back around, and this little tiny. She looked like a Pixar. You know how like Pixar will find like the most adorable, like they'll just like draw like the most adorable little tiny like toddly, like Boo from Monsters Inc.
Yes.
Right? Just like, she had Boo energy, big Boo energy. So I look over, and she is standing there. She's like out of the wagon, is come around, and is standing there and has the cutest little rainbow octopus stuffed animal thing, just absolutely adorable stuffed animal, and like hands it up to me and wanted to give me something because I'd given her this miniature. So I was like, wow. I'm like, Hawken would really kind of like that. I don't know. And I did take it, obviously. I was like, oh, well, that's really sweet. But I think you'll probably give you
get like an angry...
your octopus Star Horse thing a better angry home than I would. Why don't you hold on to that? I don't have any room in my suitcase. You take that, but
I'll never get him through security.
Yeah, man, security at the Indianapolis,
way faster than it was used to. I think they're finally starting to like.
They were angry when I was going through there. It was
really.
Like, they started yelling at the woman behind me because she had some slightly finished bottle of water in her thing, and like he said, you have to take it, you have to get back, you have to go out, throw it out, get back in the back of the line, and come back around. She's like, can I just like drink it? He's like, no. She's like, well, can you throw it out? He's like, no, you have to get back in the whole line.
Because if it's bomb juice and she drinks it, then she can just walk on the plane.
It was like they'd lost some lady's shoe, and she was like sitting there with one shoe, and it's like, where's my shoe? And they're like, you wait for your shoe. And she was like, yeah, I was really
wild.
Meanwhile,
I didn't anywhere near that experience.
I normally get like the full pat and whatever. I got through security with a full pair of scissors, a box cutter, what was the other thing that was like, when I opened my bag, I was like, Jesus, how did that happen? I don't know. It was like, it was wild. They were angry. Anyway, that was my favorite. She just wanted to trade me her stuffed animal because I'd given her this $2 mini. It was like, she was gonna give me her like beautiful $20 stuffed animal. But it was very, very touching, inspiring. What other giveaways? Wasn't it just amazing to just like be able to reverse pirate ship?
Well, what was fun about it was because since we had a lot of those old cavern pieces in there, we had some cavern floors that hadn't been reprinted in Caverns Deep, and so
like the beach one and like
So for people who were like actually like collectors, like who were it's like no, like you've been around, like I like know you got. I was just pointing out like there's some sculpts in here that you probably don't have because they weren't remade in Caverns Deep.
So for those of you who were there, we had a grab bag. We had a bunch of random pieces. We had some Imperial Streets pieces. We had some Caverns pieces. We had some Dungeon pieces. We had, Eric and Carrie and Chuck had gone through the warehouse and sort of cleared out a bunch of like riffraff and different things. So we had like just a random collection of pieces. So we would give people a piece if you were on the mailing list, would sign up for the mailing list, or had a cute kid.
We really need to see about reprinting those sculpts that didn't come over to Caverns Deep from original Caverns. I understand why we didn't do some of them, when I look at it. Like the Caverns 4 that has like the stalagmites on 2 squares, where it's like that makes it unplayable, like on those 2
Yeah.
squares. But like it'd
Also,
be interesting
some
to have as an
questionable
option.
sculpting on it, and
Yeah.
But
It'd be
yeah, that was
interesting
a
to
neat
see,
one.
though.
We've occasionally reprinted it. We just haven't remastered it. We did at least 2 print runs of that one. But yeah, there's a bunch of those. There's definitely some pieces that are harder to come by, and some of them are in the grab bag.
Yeah.
You can hand them out, get people excited. It's so fun when they can pick through and they get their thing and they get all excited. And badge banners. Next year we'll have more badge banners, so we won't run out. Especially for you guys, like the true believers, the folks that are watching, and like when you show up, we don't have like the little cool red banner for you. No. All right. What was on number 4? All right, number 3. Gen Con was a reminder, yet again, that there are so many cool games out there. Like, just when you think you've seen every game, where there are so many cool games, and then the new edition of the thing, and the way, they just like, it just never stops. Like, you could play games, a different game every day for the rest of your life and still not get through all of them. There's so many, there's like, it's mind-blowing, right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's just...
Tyler and Miles like just walked up one day and they were like, "Yeah, so we bought into this skirmish game called Malifaux."
Yes.
And they got back and they showed Hamster today and he's like, "Oh, I got a bunch of that." They're like,
It's just like, because there's so many cool games. And it just keeps going and it keeps going. And there's just, so it's inspiring to wander around and just see all the, thankfully I didn't get to wander too long because I didn't walk away with a single game.
I wish I had more time to play them. That's what I'm excited about for Unplugged. Unplugged is the con where like I get to play a lot of games.
Yeah.
And we're actually really doing Unplugged this year.
So there's demo tables, and there were demo tables here, and there's playtest rooms and all this stuff, but like it was a little crazier. Like Unplugged will be a lot more low key. It'll be some time to check out stuff. But there's just endless, so many cool. Were any games that caught your eye that you wished you could have played?
I would have liked to have been able to do one of the Pirate Borg demos, especially because they do their demos on a build with Dwarven Forge. So it would have been nice. But it was like...
Did you get a picture?
No, because it wasn't in the exhibitor hall.
It was
in one of the hotel like rooms. And
Come into my hotel room. I'm going to play a pirate game with you.
Like the way that the escape room is in one of the hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Like it's,
right. They have all these ballrooms and all these.
They rent out the lower floors of the hotel for.
It's so big. It's not even. It's in every. Like there's hidden nooks and crannies with stuff you can't even discover. Like it is. It just goes forever.
Yeah.
So the secret pirate hotel game room.
Tyler and Miles had already. They rushed to assemble their starter boxes like today.
I saw Tyler show me his boss guy with the shadow.
Yeah, and they actually were playing a test game in the gaming room, like when we were starting the stream.
Amazing.
So yeah, I don't know if they're still there and playing, or they've probably gone home by now. But yeah. So Malifaux, I wish I could have played Pirate Borgs. I'm just very curious about it. It's why I've been reading the rules.
Yeah.
Because I do want to try running it. I also still really want to run mazes.
Mazes is amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I want to play Wingspan too. I keep passing Wingspan, and it seems really nice. It's a bird game.
I have it. I haven't cracked it yet, but it's on the. People love that game. Yeah. It's highly regarded.
We've got all these expansions for it and everything. Like it's like when I walked by it again at Gen Con because they were close to the game hall. And I walked by it and I was like, they've got so much. Like they were like giving like Catan like a run for its money in terms of like how many like expansions and like other like things.
But also, it's easy enough to order it online without having to carry it back in your suitcase. Mm-hmm. Too. So I play every Sunday night. We do family game night where we play a board game, and I'll usually play at least one other night a week. I'll play something with the kids, and I've been trying to not do more than one new game a month is too overwhelming, particularly for Talia. Like it's, so we have to sort of pace out. But Wingspan is in the queue of like it's going to be one that's going to pop out at some point.
More of a low key like.
Yeah, well, it's a kind of a little heavier weight I think at first, but once you get in it.
Are the vibes like cozy? Is it a stressful game or is it like?
No, No, but it's just sort of the rules are a little heavier, I think.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Because I was like,
Little.
make her play Frostpunk and see how she feels about
Yeah.
that.
We just cracked open Gloomhaven, the kids and I. Like,
Man.
she just wants no part of that.
God, I want to play.
I have first edition printing from the original Kickstarter. I've been sitting on it for like 4 years, waiting for the kids to be old enough. Hawken just turned 7, and we just started. It takes like 6 hours to play the first, like, just punching out. There's like, oh, it is, yeah. They need to figure out. They need to rewrite that rule book, and I need interior. They need to give me a thing to sort all the stuff inside because it is just bedlam.
Speaking of giveaways, which we were talking about before this and not.
Oh, is it time
Currently.
to give something away?
It is.
Because we love giveaways.
Somebody suggested Big Boo Energy is the word. Do you think that's good?
Big Boo Energy.
Okay, for a chance to win a $50 Dwarven Forge gift card, type Big Boo Energy, all one word, in the chat. Oh God, I need to read everything in the chat real quick before it all disappears as everybody types Big Boo Energy. Everybody is eligible as a digital gift card. Does not matter where you live, as long as you do not work for Dwarven Forge, you are eligible to win this giveaway. Just Big Boo Energy in chat. Making a second edition of Gloomhaven or Wingspan? Cascade is like, oh, there it goes. Oh,
I
yep,
think it's a
there
second
it goes.
edition of Gloomhaven, I'm guessing.
It has been around for a while, I guess. That makes some
It's
sense.
been around for 3 or 4 years.
And is
Easily.
Frosthaven an expansion on it, or is that
It's a
a
sequel.
separate? It's a sequel. Okay.
Yeah, it's another giant.
So it does have
$300
like
box or
differences
whatever.
in the.
I don't know. I haven't played it.
It's one of those games like I've wanted to play. I guess I could play the video
It's
game
pretty
version.
neat. It's it's just a level up RPG, but there's like a whole map with stickers, and you get to like go to you unlock as you unlock things, you put the sticker on the map, and now you can go there as another scenario. And the power mechanic is neat. You have a top and a bottom of the card. And it's neat. It's clunky. Like it takes frustratingly long to get through it.
It's one of those games that was like really influential though, yeah. Where like a lot of people were like,
Oh,
"We
it
should do
blew
things
up
in this."
on Board Game Geek. It's huge. I mean, we have people coming up to us asking, do you make anything with hexes for Gloomhaven with your terrain? Because they want to build their stuff.
We should.
Stop talking about
We
hexes.
should do hexes.
You and your Lancer hexes.
It's more for battle
love
tech.
it.
Lancer is easier to adjust to squares if you need
Yeah.
to than battle tech. But I really want to play battle tech in the office.
I would love to play some BattleTech. See, I want to play all the games. There's so many.
I've got all the minis ready. We just got to get.
I haven't.
a map.
I haven't.
We just need a hex map.
I haven't played BattleTech in probably 30 years.
I guess actually I do have maps too. We could just play BattleTech. I have like the
Yeah.
fold out like paper maps.
That's all you need.
We could just play BattleTech.
Throw some X and coming at you.
That's what we should
My
be doing
PPCs, and my LRM 20. Like, do they still have those?
Yes.
Particle projection cannon, long range
Yes,
missile.
they
types?
absolutely
Yes.
do. Yes. All of that stuff. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they didn't really drop any of the. I mean, I
It's
guess
awesome.
I wasn't here in the '80s, but like,
Oof.
but I assume that no, they still have
That
like.
was the 90s, 60, 20, 30 years ago.
Sure.
It was.
No, PPMs are fun. They kept all that. Yeah, I don't think any of the weapons got dropped.
Good.
I was on a panel with the Gloomhaven designer. He's still surprised people like the game. Or played, so was I.
What's SOB?
Something we're not allowed to say. Well, we can say it on Twitch.
Caverns
You just
is
can't say
great
it.
for SOB. Man, chat is flying.
Yeah, people are going. We started asking gamers about games. So
I know. Go figure. Well, because you know what? There's a lot of good games out there. The more that's what I think.
That's the point.
I keep getting just amazed everywhere. It's just there's still new...
Shadows of Brimstone.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's good.
I don't know anything about it. BattleTech's still able to use stolen essence from Macross/Robotech. They had a big lawsuit about it, so I
Yeah.
think they. I don't know. There's a big old lawsuit about it from what I remember. But I'll tell you what, we play Lancer with a lot of stolen BattleTech minis. Because there's not a lot of Lancer minis out there because it's a,
Right?
it's a
'Cause
small
it's
company.
game.
Those
For
are
now.
I would love to meet that team.
Till it blows up.
They have Phoenix Hawks and such available. I bought a Phoenix Hawk. They actually won and are allowed. Oh, sick, awesome. I got a Phoenix Hawk while I was there. I got a bunch of BattleTech stuff. I got 2 like booster boxes.
You got Shatterpoint stuff.
I didn't get Shatterpoint stuff because
Oh, you had that previously.
I ordered that off of their web store. Yeah.
Got it.
I don't
Okay,
know if they
got
were
it,
selling. I think they were only selling the core sets at.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. I didn't get through the whole vendor hall. That was the thing.
The problem is that I've already bought everything that's actually out. The only things I haven't bought for Shatterpoint is the stuff that isn't out yet.
These are good problems to have.
Yeah.
So the also kind of an overlapping Venn diagram with so many cool games out there. Number 2 was so much inspiring creativity, right?
Yes.
It's just walking through Artist Alley, walking through these things, seeing the wild ways people are making dice and the art they're making and the clever way they did this game or this pop-up thing or this whatever. Like, there's so much creativity in the gaming industry. It is like, I didn't even see it all, right? There's modular paintbrushes and things that, like, it just, people are solving problems you don't even have, but they just want to, like, find a new way to, like, crack this thing and whatever, and inserts for your whatever, and pre-cut foam for this, and, like, just so many neat, clever, creative things that people are creating. This is the best, especially, man, walking through Artist Alley and seeing all, like, just all the clever takes and
I loved Kingdom Death, but I couldn't justify having $400 held up in one game. Well, we better keep that in mind.
yeah. The I don't know anybody that's actually played Kingdom Death.
I don't know. Well, yeah, it is out there. From what I've heard, like, the minis are more of a draw than the game itself. I do know some people who play it and enjoy it, but, like, genuinely, like, most of the buzz is about just the minis
just
being
crazy
really
sculpts and amazing manufacturing and it's I did see their booth, but I didn't go in. They were in the way far corner, but I didn't go wander over and see what was there.
Here's the thing, like,
but I think a person,
they're behind, but they're constantly, like, working. They just delivered something.
How many years behind are they? On
a lot, but it's like
3,
through like mostly scale creep and stuff, and then just going like, we want to make it better. So like,
when they finally deliver it, it'll be.
They're still they're still making things. It is still, like, it's not like there's no progress happening. So, like, they're
someone from their team asked me if we have any openings for a job there.
Really?
Yes.
To do what?
I don't know. They just did anything. Because they're in New York.
They're here.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk and hang out with them?
I don't know.
We could just easily reach out and just, like, ask if we want to do a game night or something and just see.
Hey, want to play Kingdom Death?
Yeah, get a vibe check. See how.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we?
It's not
just
nuts.
Reach out at some point. Let's roll this giveaway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we didn't do that. Yes.
What's a pinup model? Oh, buddy. Hey, C. Goulash.
Yay, congrats.
Congratulations. That's $50 Dwarf Forge gift card. I'm going to whisper you on here real quick. You'll get a little message notification. We just need, you just need to whisper me the email for your store account. Oh, I already have it.
Woo!
You've won like a year and a half ago. Okay.
Hey. Man, turns out we've been streaming for a long time. 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
Hey, this is the thing you just told me, which I think someone in Discord told you. We're 3 years, right?
Today is the 3-year anniversary of when we launched the Wildlands Kickstarter. And tomorrow we're launching Wildlands Reforged.
3 years later. 3 years in a day.
Hey, Chris, disagree. What did I say that was controversial?
I don't know. You're wonderfully controversial all the time. That's like,
sometimes I just say things to get a response.
Yay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't
I'm getting
know.
Old. This is true.
I don't know what. 3.5 years since we started streaming. Yeah, 3.5 years since we started streaming, because we started streaming in the build-up to Wildlands.
Yeah.
And then it's been, 3 years.
Since Wildlands.
And then tomorrow, Wildlands Reforged. We really messed up by not
let's build that time machine, knock it back a day. Yeah.
I don't know what I would do if we were launching today instead of tomorrow,
it would be
honestly
more dangerous if we had a time machine. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that probably there are worse things that we could do. Yeah.
It'd be trouble. No.
The problem is, the tone of setting up Bizarre World is absolutely. Oh, that's fair. I mean, I haven't played it. I'm just going off of like what I've seen people say and do. Yeah, like I said, I haven't played Kingdom Death. I didn't get in on that. Yeah. Let's see.
All right, wait, did we do the giveaway?
Number 2?
All right, so last one we got down to number 1. The troll band. Did you see Dragos's troll band diorama he did?
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. That's why the troll band. That's why the troll band came up.
is amazing. So, all right. So, and number one, the last thing on the on my Gen Con list was once again so amazing to see all of you. Right, it's just such a fantastic reminder of how great our Dwarven Forge community is, how amazing our Twitch community is, how many just delightful people we have in our orbit. Right, it's so nice to get to put faces to a lot of these screen names. Now I know who we're talking to, and it's just like, it's just the best. People coming up, showing photos of their build, or telling this story about, oh, we did this thing, you wouldn't believe it. They had the best thing, or just that, man, thank you for making your stuff. It makes the right game. So it's so fun to build your pieces, tell our stories, do whatever. Like, it's just that endless stream of so many wonderful, wonderful, inspiring people. It is the best. And I wish we had badge banners for all of you. I'm sorry we ran out.
Tyler just walked in, so they were still playing. They just finished.
Nice. Did he have his head hung low like he'd been trounced, or was he strutting?
He's not. He doesn't show that kind of stuff. He doesn't feel shame.
He doesn't feel shame.
Take the time machine and do Castle's Kickstarter again. Oof. Boy.
That would be awesome.
If you guys haven't talked about it yet, you need to be blasting out the idea that you can stagger the payments for Reforged, with cost being the #1 barrier to entry. Being able to pay over 4 months, it's a very different thing. I don't know. I'm glad we're trying it. I'm a little nervous. We'll see what happens. I just don't want people to make
bad financial decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we don't have a $10,000 pledge or anything.
Fair. And I'm hoping that, because the odds are they would, if somebody's going to be bad with their money, they probably would have done it whether we had the 4 month or not. But
they would spend it on Kingdom Death Monster instead, or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
You only got one left, yeah?
That was #1. It was just the fans, the people, our community. DF #1 is just so nice to see the people, and once again meet more of the people. See the old favorites, Dragos and Paul. Aimee sent her friend in her stead. Her friend was going, and she came specifically to the booth to say hi to us in her stead, and just such good, so many wonderful folks, and I like seeing some faces with the screen names. So it's so hard to remember a real name and a screen name, but little by little it chips away. Last year I finally figured out who Dragos was after years. Yeah.
I think you didn't connect the dots that it's him at first either. It's just no, that's Dragos.
No, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And it's yeah. There was a picture. We were talking about a picture. It was, I don't know how to.
I think you mentioned him by his. I think he mentioned him by his real name, and they were yeah, I thought Dragos was supposed to be here, and it's yes, the guy you were just
standing next to you.
It's the guy you were just talking about. It was
in a photo. I think we were talking about it. It was a photo of me and you're
yeah.
I was it's a bummer Dragos never showed up. Literally, you dummy. Yes.
Yeah, it's what are you talking about?
Yeah. People need to have name tags that have their name and their screen name and why I should know them, and it would be perfect. It would make my convention so much easier, because it is exhausting.
Then we had the whole Finley mix-up in Lowtown.
Finley had a secret identity, his real name. It blew my mind. We had that epiphany in the finale stream, right? That was.
We found out in the finale stream because he thought that we were joking when we were saying we didn't know who this guy in the comments was.
It was unreal.
Yeah, no, that was good stuff.
Oh, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just really nice to get to connect with so many folks and hear the tales and just all the handshakes and thank yous and pictures. Man, just the builds that people show. It's just so fun. It's good times. It fills up the inspirationometer, the inspiration tank.
Yeah, I was just waiting to say it fills up the tank.
I guess it doesn't. The inspirationometer would measure your inspiration. So, yeah, it fills up the tank, as it were.
It's something you're making up, so you can just kind of call it whatever you want.
Yeah. Inspirationarium.
Yeah. Dr. Parnassus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imaginary.
What a weird movie.
Yeah. Go
What a weird
figure.
movie.
It was Gilliam, right? Like.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. Like, all over the place.
PAX Unplugged still TBD. Oh no, we're going.
We're going.
Yeah, we got our booth. We confirmed it. So yeah, we're doing Unplugged. I think we got our booth. We have
If we
confirmed
didn't,
to
we
go.
are. Yeah, we're going.
Yes.
You want to hear the bonkers?
We are, because Mace knows. What's up?
The bonkers plan is we're going to try, in the spring, we're going to try to go to Adepticon and PAX East at the same time.
Mm-hmm. We're just gonna keep flying back and forth.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unplugged's in Philly. It's
Unplugged
one
is
it's one of
great.
the easiest cons for us to get to. It's like a 2-hour drive, or you take the train.
It's so easy.
And it's personally one of my favorite conventions.
Just good
I like it
vibes.
a lot.
Agree.
So yeah, we're
And
planning.
who
on
knows
doing
what else we'll hit next year.
that. And we're gonna
Could be-
try to actually run tables too. We'll have sci-fi. We'll have sci-fi there. We'll have.
At Unplugged?
We'll at least we will have. It's early December.
Me?
We'll at least be pushing it.
Yeah.
We might not be doing full demos of sci-fi, but we've got.
I don't know. We'll see what we'll have. We'll have postcard.
We've
but
got to be pushing it.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, we have to. I just don't know how much we'll have yet to.
We'll do whatever we can with it, but it's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, it's you're right. It's the first week of December, so it's yeah. We have time. Yeah.
when is Philly? The one Unplugged, the convention in Philly is the first week of December.
Yeah.
First weekend. It's 3rd through the 6th or something like that.
First week in December.
It's
Whatever.
very
that is.
very early. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very early December.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Let's see.
We'll see
We have
what
a table
else.
at Dwarven Forge. That's right. You're gonna do a big build. Sci-fi still coming out before Hightown?
Yes.
Yes. And Hightown planned for early to midsummer?
No.
No, a bit later than that.
We've got to ship Lowtown first, and I think we're gonna get the board game out before Hightown.
Yeah, we got to ship Lowtown and then give it a little bit of breathing room to let that settle.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
think-
all cooking.
Yeah.
Got a fun things of cooking. You know, it was interesting. A lot of people that talked about sci-fi were very excited. I thought, there's often a divide between fantasy and sci-fi, and everybody was like, "Oh, cool! I got to get some of that." Right? And also the idea as well, it's small. It's not a huge offering, so you don't have to go in for thousands of dollars. I mean, you could, and you're welcome to.
If you're gunning to get everything, it's going to be way easier to get everything.
Yeah.
Than it has been for a long time for us.
Yes.
So.
Spend a couple hundred and get a thing to
What sci-fi LEDs will you have? You're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, we will show.
Planning to show sci-fi pretty soon.
Talon, probably early September. Talon as well, somewhere around there. We'll have some stuff ready to tease out.
Somewhere around a month-ish, a month, a little less. Somewhere.
What day is today?
It's the 9th.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about potentially end of August, early September.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll actually we'll want to make an event of it too. So we'll send out an email and we'll make a big deal out of it. Put out announcements and stuff when we pick a date. But yeah, because the sci-fi, the fact that we're doing new sci-fi is a really big deal for us.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make a big deal out of it.
Honestly, everything we do is a big deal to us. It's we have limited bandwidth, so it's this Reforged.
This is a big deal, and I think also very unexpected. I guess is the
and
big thing.
exciting because it's a different.
Yes.
We're hitting a different note. We're we're putting down the electric guitar for a second. We're gonna play the synth.
Let's see. What time is Reforged airing tomorrow? It goes live at noon.
Yeah.
Any special events happening for this event? Promos,
Yes.
giveaways, exclusives?
No.
We're not doing.
But a special
we
event
should
tomorrow.
we should do some credit giveaways.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. We're
When
gonna
are we
start
gonna
a
stream?
We're gonna start a stream at 11:30
Boom.
tomorrow morning, a half hour before the campaign goes live.
AM.
AM, yes. Basically, if you're concerned about time zones, just look at the countdown on the GameFound page.
Hey.
And it will tell you, and it'll be a half hour before that happens.
If you haven't followed the GamePound page, you might as well now because you'll save $5.
Yeah.
Do we have a look at? Already got the link up.
Yeah, I already got it up.
Boom.
we're not doing new sculpts or exclusives or anything for the campaign because this is more of a restock pre-order thing. Yeah, I know a lot of people probably have a hard time making the stream because it is like during the day.
Prime work hours.
Yeah, so that's probably wasn't the best idea, but that's when we're launching it.
Lasers. What Paul said. Lasers in the expansion.
Yes. Does the new Wildlands pledges mimic Kickstarter prices? No, we're not going down to Kickstarter prices. However, we are. So with existing sets, production costs being higher now, the existing sets are going to have to go. The prices are going to have to go up by a couple dollars when the factory does this production run. But for the campaign, we're going to keep them at their current store prices. So all of the existing sets, you're getting a couple dollars off of compared to what they're going to be in the store. And then for the kind of heart of the mountain, heart of the swamp style pledge, like those bundles, we're doing a discount on them for getting it in bulk. And then we're offering like this extra $5 discount for people who follow early. I don't know. We're trying to figure out what, this is like a very new thing for us. We're not expecting as big of a showing as other things. So like we have to like be a little more reserved with doing like a bunch of big giveaways and stuff like that, because we need to see. We're trying to get a gauge on like what an event like this looks like, what the size of people showing up is.
Ostensibly supposed to be like one of our restocks.
Yes.
Is the that's the minimum goal. Hope.
It's basically like we're trying to look at it more like a pre-order on a restock and less like a Kickstarter campaign. So it's gonna feel more like that. We're not doing as many big, huge. We're not doing like daily streams. We're not doing like a bunch of huge media pushes as much. We're still gonna be advertising it. We're still gonna be trying to make it successful, but we're trying to. I don't know. It's a new platform. It's a new kind of project. And it's not any new pieces, so we're trying to play it safe a bit.
Yeah. Also, we still have a ton going on. Like we're still pushing on a bunch of projects forward all at the same time. So.
Yes, because we also are. It's a very limited team that is working on it as well, while most of the team is working on the new stuff.
Yeah. Draga said he's gonna have. As he's got his work Zoom meeting, he's going to have us up next to the Zoom meeting, and we were doing both at the same time.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It'll be a drop in productivity. It's going to be amazing.
You should screen share it.
Ooh. Night Hero is asking if we're going to do transition pieces to blend fantasy and sci-fi. Not for the initial launch. For the initial launch, we're going to focus on a core set, a couple of just basic systems, and then assuming that goes well, then we can go bigger and have some. We'll do a big Kickstarter or whatever, a big game out, a big crowd, a bigger campaign with some. We could do some transition pieces, who knows, lasers.
There are going to be ways to use it with like existing terrain though, so we will
for
do,
sure.
We will do like compatibility stuff.
But we're not gonna have specific transition pieces.
Yes. We're not gonna make like a half dungeon, half sci-fi like transition corner or something. Yeah.
Not yet. Anything's possible, but.
Is the Hunter's Pack coming back? I think Hunter's Pack isn't, but there's a couple new.
There's a change. There's
a couple new. So it's a big reconfiguration. The Bestial Lair dressing pack, and then I think is it Forest Ambush or something? Wilderness Ambush. Those two packs kind of do what the Hunter's Camp did, but it brings in some more sculpts that were hard to get. Like the Wyvern Nest is going to be available without getting the Wyvern for the first time. Which was something people were asking about a lot. So we reconfigured some things. When you're juggling 200 pieces, it's hard to like.
We did a pretty good job, I think, of based on what was feasible, trying to get as many pieces accessible as possible and in ways that made sense. Well, we shall see. Oh yeah, Krieg's are in there too. I forgot. Sharks with lasers on their head.
Very excited for the campaign. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes, and we're having to juggle and like keep a lot of things. I know there's some people who are upset that we're not doing Kickstarter prices or we're not doing like a bunch of.
Well, we can't.
freebies
I mean,
with
those
it.
were the Kickstarter prices. We can't go
Yes.
backwards in time like we're, you know.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I
It's
think
also
there's
been
a lot of
3
people who
years.
are.
Like,
I think there's a lot of kind of comparing it to Kickstarter campaigns
yeah.
and working from that starting point instead of comparing it
Yeah.
to. We're trying to basically do a restock pre-order, but make it still provide some incentives.
We also told you on the Kickstarter these would be the lowest prices it would ever be at. Like we can't go back on that. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I
Unfortunately.
don't know. So it's and we're having to, because we also need to make sure that we don't lose money on the project as well, and
Yeah.
with it being like we're expecting like a much smaller kind of showing just because it's not new product and everything. Maybe we're wrong. Maybe it'll actually be a huge showing and we could have done more. But then we'll have this as a data point and we'll be able to move forward from there. But we need to try and avoid doing anything that's going to severely harm the company.
It would be a champagne problem to have
Yeah.
have it just blow up and be a
Stone Spur
yeah.
and rope will be available
Oh,
in
yeah.
several things. It's going to be in the Crags Bridge. It's going to be you can see all the sets that we're offering and everything. All of those are live on the GameFound page right now. So you can actually go and you can look at the bundles, you can look at the add-on sets. We were able to set all of them live early because GameFound lets you publish the page in parts and everything. So we've added like a ton of stuff today. Almost everything is up. Hey, how was Malifaux?
We're almost done with turn 1.
Oh,
Well, we just new. So.
Sounds like
We're just
Gloomhaven.
new to the
Yeah.
game. We're just new to the
that's
game,
fair.
so
You've been
Yeah.
at it for like 3.5 hours.
No, shorter than that.
2.
We didn't even
What?
start till 6 because
Oh.
You're just messing around.
we were messing around.
Okay. Well, hey Tyler.
Yeah.
Question about Reforged.
hmm
What dollar amount is success exceeding and blown away?
Ooh.
So it's a 3-stage question.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah.
At what point are we like, okay, cool, like this has succeeded, and at what point are we like, oh, this is beyond what we succeeded, and at what point
You
is
wanna
like
you wanna
we
step
did not think this
on?
was gonna happen?
Yeah, I
You
can,
can
I
say
can
hi?
step into the.
You want to talk into Nate's neck? Because he's got the lav on.
Oh yeah.
Sure. Or I can just like raise my voice.
Man does have a loud voice.
It,
that's
these
very nice.
Man is a
understatement.
musical theater dude. I guess
Ouch.
it's a nicer way to say it.
So I would say the thing that is meeting expectation, or like, yeah, hey, this was good. I'm satisfied. $350.
$3.50.
Yeah, 350K.
Lowballing.
350K for me is like, or even 300K within that ballpark. Within those two, like, that's great. I'm satisfied. I'm happy. Everything is going the exact way I was hoping to. The exceeding expectations, probably around 5. I would still be like, wow, this was
5 would be
incredible.
amazing,
Like,
yeah.
man, thank you so much. Like, I'm so glad that all of you have been so excited and that you've gotten everything you wanted.
Getting all the
And
sets you need.
holy crap, this is great. Wild, blow the top off my head. Beluga amount is yeah. I'd say $1 million.
Wow.
Like, it's not even. I don't like that at all.
What is going on
Oh,
over
I know,
there?
but like I know it was the heart, but
It's
the
a lot
way
harder.
you had
it's
to
a,
do it,
It's a lot harder.
then
with
don't do the bit.
having a hoodie on.
Then
is-
just don't do the
I
bit.
didn't think about it until I was in it.
You at any point
Anyway.
can stop. Your hand goes up. You can stop yourself. So that's what I feel like. Once we're beyond 500, I'm just like sitting on cloud 9, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. If we hit 1 million, I'd be like, I don't even
That'd be
know what to
amazing.
do.
We got to rethink. We got to think of a lot of new.
It's like at that point we
Yeah.
have to sculpt something new. No, absolutely not.
Sorry, we're gonna push back delivery by 6 months to make like a.
At that point, we have to make sculpted mountain battle boards. No. Like there's no
alternate snow
You're
skiing
right.
and
It's like there's nothing that we would do.
tumble, yeah.
It's that's why I'm like that would just be wild, and I don't know.
Guess we're
I don't
doing
know how to
modular
react.
ships.
I
Done.
mean, we've
Ship.
talked about like snow and sand and stuff, and it's been so exciting to like conceive of that. And it's not in anything that we're doing in the next like 2 years.
No
So,
new pieces in Reforged.
No, absolutely none.
Because
So-
we want to deliver immediately.
Yes. So
Oh, yeah, we'll redo
that's
resin.
why
We'll-
I'm like we're not gonna.
If we hit
reach
1 million,
that.
we'll open our own resin factory
Right.
and go back to doing resin pieces.
Jesus. But we're not gonna reach
That's-
that. We're not gonna reach that, and that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
A-okay with that because you guys have already proven with like a lot of the predictions and your guys' communications of things that I'm more than likely going to
Which
reach my
guises-
comfortable.
Which guises are we talking about?
The people on the Discord
Oh,
that I
yeah.
actually noticed.
Actually,
who was listening.
guys is already the plural.
Yeah,
No,
but I like
guys
guys
is
is,
separate.
you know, like
That's when
the
they're
plural
guys.
of the plural.
What you guys is looking at?
When you want
Guys is
hundreds of,
youths.
when you want to talk about hundreds of thousands of guys,
Yeah.
guys,
guises.
yeah, multiples of thousands. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's my prediction there. There you go.
I
All
like
right,
this.
cool. So you heard it, like 300 mil. Yeah, we hit $1 million. We gotta think like, okay, we gotta think of new stretch goals and like.
Let's, you know what? Let's worry about that if it ever happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Classic
it's a-
Dwarven Forge fashion. We're just
I'm
like.
excited to see it happen,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna sit pretty with everybody being really nice.
Did you show people your cool new shirt? I was like, I think a shirt on.
He was wearing it. He was wearing it on.
Yeah, and they came. Okay, because it's really cool.
Oh, it's an
Yeah.
Akira.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
As a
Nope shirt.
tarot card.
Oh, I just named every piece of media that's copied the motorcycle shot from Akira.
Yeah. But it's also a tarot card, the chariot.
Ooh.
So it's very cool.
Yeah.
Good night.
Sick. Good night, Tyler. See you tomorrow.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, 300
we
mil.
missing
You heard it.
any
300
questions?
mil, and we succeed. Oh yeah, it's like 300, 350, basically. What's most restocks ever
Hey,
pulled?
Tyler. Jeffrey said you were a wealth of information. Thanks for Gen Con.
He's out of here.
Oh,
That
God.
door slammed a
Slammed
long
the
time
door.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about a fall paint scheme? Can't do new paint. Even doing new paint schemes would delay.
So the
Delivery by
goal
a
is
lot.
we want to just immediately go into production. Like literally the second the pledge manager's closed, we're going into production so we can beat because we have to get this done before Lowtown is in full production. So we can't do anything new. Anything that requires new paint samples, any new sculpts, any new anything. We can't do anything new. And we can't dive into Cavern Deep. There's a lot of good ideas, but there's like we just have to
Again, it just comes down to us
do
having
what's
to look
feasible.
at it. It just comes down to us looking at like this is supposed to be a small thing. It's supposed to be a restock pre-order, and we're trying to make it a little special. We're
Yes.
doing like a couple special things for it.
Well,
But-
we can't start doing a whole bunch of Caverns Deep pieces, or whatever, because once again we have to get through production before Lowtown production. So like the more molds it takes. These things are 300 pounds. Like switching them out, like we can't. It's already going to be tight as it is. So.
Is there a timeline for when they ship to us? Like end of the year, beginning of next year, basically.
It should be 6 months from when the thing ends.
Yeah, we're trying to.
March-ish?
I would rather it.
I was saying
Basically, like we're trying to time this to where they can get it all loaded up on a ship and send it out before Lunar New Year. Like that's the main. That's why we're ending it when we do. That's why the pledge
Yep.
manager is like ending by end of September. Like we're trying to get that order in.
Well,
If
that's-
it ends up going faster than that, excellent.
That's the driver, right? Is like we
Yeah.
are racing against Lowtown production. Like we
Yes.
really, otherwise we would have the campaign be a little longer. We'd have the pledge manager open a little longer. We'd let everything breathe. But we're trying to get this in so we can get it delivered
Yeah.
ASAP.
The reason this happened is because we noticed that we had these issues where it's like we need to reconfigure Wildland sets. We have none of it in the store because it all sold out immediately.
Yeah.
It was our biggest store day ever.
Bonkers.
People want all these things. We need to do this, and then we were noticing there's a gap in the factory's work schedule, and they're asking us for something to fill that gap, and it's like, well,
We got something and buckle up.
so we kind of threw this thing together as a solution for this solves and we wanted to try out a new platform. We try out GameFound, but in a way that
and
was
pre-order.
but in a way that
and-
was safer than doing a whole new product with a bunch of
Yep.
overhead costs. And so it's all right, we can kill 4 birds with one stone here. If we
We're just
if we do this
murdering
here.
all the
it's
birds.
really bad.
It's yeah. A
We ought to be.
murdering a
We need to
murder
be
of crows.
arrested. Yeah. So that was the main thing. It was here's a common solution to a bunch of things that we want to happen.
Yeah.
And so this was thrown together in 2 months because that was the time limit. That was the time.
Well,
frame
they've
that
been
we
sort
had.
of brewing and percolating for a while, and it's just suddenly kicked into high gear because we have the window, we have the thing, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
You can go to the trees from Caverns. There are a couple, not the modular trees from KS6 because those are already coming in a restock later.
Yeah.
So there's some things like the Archaean Ruins, Titan's Tooth, Fellborn Plants. Those aren't in the campaign because they were already ordered for restocks. That went in a week or two before we decided to do this campaign. It's We could have saved them for Reforged. but-
Titan's Tooth went in, the Ruins went in. We were like, it's a fun.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. You
What's
mentioned a better backer experience. Well, can you elaborate on what you mean?
So if we're talking about the campaign itself, so if we're talking about the
Campaign,
product, it is by making the sets better and by making it basically a restock where, like, sure, it's going to take you longer for you to get it because it's a pre-order,
And the
but
sets,
you don't got to
sets
worry
are,
about the stuff running out.
sets are better in that you can target what you want a little more easily. Particularly, I'm thinking the escarpments, right? It's easier to get the big chunky boys, and like you can, like I think the set selection, the sets are a little leaner. What's in them, so then you can mix and match better. What did you say? You hit all the other ones, right?
Yes.
We got some bundle pricing, is good, but here's the best of all.
Yeah, when it comes to the platform, with GameFound,
So
as our campaigns have gotten bigger and more complicated, the limitations of Kickstarter's system have been getting felt more and more to the point where we've been having to make entire outside websites to
we
be able
built
to
an
display all of the
entire
information.
website because Kickstarter couldn't handle what we were trying to do.
But like, if you go to the GameFound page now, we're able to have everything just on there. The only thing that we did,
you can browse
extraneously-
it like it's a store. There are filters. There you can have each listing for each thing can have pictures and videos and all the information. Like it's a full-blown store. It's what we had to build for Lowtown already exists. That platform already does it. And it's so easy.
And the problem is, every time that you have to ask somebody to like go back and forth between sites, every time you make them have to click away or like go look for things, so like that increases the chance that they're just going to give up, and they're just going to decide this just isn't worth the time. I'm just going to like back out. Having it all on one page in a way that's more easily browsable, and having anchor links on the side where they can see like the information they're looking for and just click straight on it and go down.
It's like a
to it.
website.
Yeah, like it's
a website.
So far, it has been, and also we're able to put all that stuff up early.
Yeah.
Everything we're offering has been up for like a week.
Stretch goals are automated.
Yeah, stretch goals are automated, so we don't have to like do a bunch of manual like chart reorganizing every time we unlock a stretch goal, which is going to be huge for
Pledge manager's baked in.
Yeah, pledge manager's baked in, so we don't got to like transfer things over to a new platform. There are a couple things we saw where
We
it's
can
like,
give a follower back discount for
Yeah.
following the page. You save $5 right out of the gate. There's
Yeah,
What would you
there's
say?
there's a lot of features we've been getting used to, and there has been some things we've run into where, because we're the first, like, we're not the first terrain Kickstarter on there. We're the first that kind of does things the way that we do with like the amount of sets and, and like all this stuff. So it hasn't entirely been like set up great for us in particular, and there's been a couple things where it's been like, it would be convenient if we had this thing, mostly when it comes to shipping. We've always had to build like an external like shipping calculator, basically. But then GameFound has also been talking to us, and they're working on making all this extraneous work that we've been having to do for shipping costs for like pledge calculator and stuff for our campaigns. They're like, okay, it's going to take us a couple of months, but we're working on making this an integral part of the platform now.
Well, that's what's cool. Is they want to work with us. They're almost oversharing. Like they keep emailing. They want to make the platform better, and they're asking, what else would you like to see on this? What else would it do? Yeah, we can get that. Like they are already trying to implement stuff. Like they've already been so much more receptive than other platforms we've used. Like
And so with the things that have been like, this could be a little better. By the time we do another, like if we decide to do another campaign on there, by the time that we get there, that stuff might be improved or fixed. And it's I don't know. It's basically we wanted to try this out in a way that was safe. And so this was designed to be like a very safe campaign for us to try a lot of new things, and see what works and what doesn't, and figure out what the future of this company and our campaigns look like, and just get that data, get that experience.
We had Austin Abridged was asking what Swamp Bank's pack is the most versatile. The answer is all of them, right? So they are built for use cases. So islands are good if you're trying to do things that are so kind of wrapped around. The winding river is good if you're doing turning river banks, so you're doing negative space in between two chunks of ground. The rivers is great if you're doing long straight runs like that. What's the other Swamp Bank?
If you're getting
basic.
if you're getting just like literally one pack and you're talking about getting like versatility, it would either be the basic because it has like straights and corners and it's just like this is giving you like
Doesn't have a lot of coverage though.
it
Like
have a lot of coverage, but it has like
yeah.
some of the more flexible pieces.
It's,
For
you
different
never
use
have
cases.
too many of those. You can
Yes,
always build on
which is
that.
the point. That or the Winding River, I would say.
Winding River is fantastic unless you're trying to do island type things. You don't have enough corners to do it. But if you got that plus basic, you could.
If you're wanting to be able to put it on your next to your forest floors to do rivers and stuff, Winding River
the
is
best.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're trying to
So-
do like swampy island, platforming islands is better.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of the best thing is like depending on what kind of build cases you have, there's different ones.
That's
that are
really
good
the
for
thing
you.
when people ask recommendations is with a lot of it, it's like it really just depends on what you're trying to do.
What's your game? What's your story? What are you
Um,
trying to accomplish?
Yeah. Somebody asked earlier, will you be able to add stuff in Pledge Manager? Yes, you will.
Yep.
We're also able to offer stretch pay, which was brought up earlier, which would be
So 4 installments?
It's their option to pay in installments, and it would be. We chose to have it be a 4-month installment thing because that way, people are paid up by the end of the year, and we need them to be paid up before we can ship them. So it makes sure that everybody is done before we start shipping. The nice thing about it is it costs the same as if you just do the single shipment.
So there's no interest?
There's no interest. There's no fees.
That's awesome.
GameFound covers like the processing fee, whatever it is, the bank,
Wow.
like the charge.
The transaction fees or whatever?
Because it's which they're like a couple cents, but like GameFound
So-
handles those.
GameFound is very backer friendly. Like they're trying to make, once again, a better
Yeah,
backer experience.
and so we'll see how that goes. I don't know. We try it out here. Yeah. So I don't know. That's the thing. We're trying to, and the nice thing is, too, this is stuff that we've already made, and we don't have rough prototypes. We have the literal product. People are out there using it in the
Yeah.
wild, and so I don't know. We're also going to get to see like what does answering questions and doing customer support look like during something like this as opposed to a campaign where it's all new
What's
stuff.
the influx like? Is this
Yeah.
a manageable thing? We can,
It's all new stuff. It's entirely new stuff, and so
ideally this
Yeah.
becomes a thing we can do annually, right? The summer reforging.
if this does well, it opens up a lot of potential for us to do a lot
That's
of
awesome.
things that we have balked at or put off doing because they didn't make sense for a huge like blowout Kickstarter,
Nope.
which is what this company has gotten used to running off of.
I really hope this platform works well so we can do sci-fi on it. Like I'm really hoping it's a good experience for us. Because so far the back end has been so much better at every turn.
Yeah, it's been way more convenient for setup for sure, and we're getting good feedback on it. We'll see if there's a discoverability issue, if people just don't show up for GameFound, if something goes wrong in the throughout this process.
Yeah.
We don't know. We won't know until we do it. But yeah, we're enjoying it so far.
Well, and it's in classic Dwarven Forge style, always trying to question the assumptions and try, is there a different way we can approach this? Is there a different way we can approach this? How can we improve it? See what happens.
Yeah.
Experiment.
Is your team growing to help with all these projects?
No.
No.
Well, we got Luke, the web designer.
Yeah, but he's doing stuff
Well,
that...
he was needed because Johanna left, so.
That's the thing, is
Yeah.
like what we...
A little
We
bit.
expanded...
We got Chris P, and customer support.
It's customer support,
so
but
we
it's
have
like we didn't
one
really bring anybody in to help with these projects is the thing.
No.
What we've
No.
been doing is we've been trying to use the time of the staff that we've had more effectively to do multiple projects at a time.
We don't want to expand too rapidly, right? We
Yeah.
sort of we want to be careful, conscious of our overhead. We want to just sort of,
We
keep,
wanna make- we
keep
wanna make
doing,
sure-
maximizing what we have currently, and
Also, do you want to add someone to the team?
well, hire a Discorder.
Yeah. We want to make sure that if we bring somebody in, we can actually support them long term. And it's not going to be just a come in, do this for 6 months, get used to it, and then
Yeah.
get laid off, We have an extremely low turnover rate, and it would be nice to keep it that way.
Yeah. No, we want to bring. We we're gonna bring people in that have potential for long-term growth, right? They can be here and grow and evolve and be part of the thing. And
Game fan replacing Kickstarter is fine, but not sure I want the pattern to become repeated crowdfunding for the same sets. It's not really that so much as doing smaller campaigns is like one thing. Like, can we sustain ourselves off of doing like a small project every 6 months as opposed to like a huge thing every year and a half?
Right now, the current plan is to do sci-fi and board game next year.
Yeah.
2 projects in 1 year, while fulfilling Lowtown and fulfilling Wildlands Reforged.
Yeah.
And if all goes well, we'd throw another Reforged in the middle of there, while prepping Hightown.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild. That is a.
But it's something
lot.
like, if we do the dungeons, if we do this again with dungeons, there would be new pieces. There'd be a couple new pieces.
Yeah.
And it would be some new, because the goal with dungeons is to do a bunch of reconfigurations to free up a bunch of pieces that have been missing since Dungeon of Doom. So the goal isn't like, we wouldn't be doing like Wildlands over and over. It'd be like, okay, let's move through the biomes and do the touch-ups. Do the touch-ups that we need here. Add a
Clean
couple
up
pieces
to the
that it
web
needs.
store. Get those diagonals that you couldn't get.
Yeah,
Get all
Sewers needs another handful of pieces to like really be fleshed out. Burrows might need the same attention. Like moving through things and just kind of going like using this to fix the web store, fix the gaps that we have. Yeah.
That would be, doing Burrows Reforged with 6 or 8 new pieces would be amazing.
Because it needs a
Right,
couple new
like-
sculpts. Like it does. And it's a really cool idea that like kind of got left behind a bit because it was
these 45-degree turns and stuff in the original, and we already had so many pieces, and Stefan was confused by 45-degree angles, and we were like, I was like, all right, we'll just start with the basics and see how this works, and never went back to it. Oh man, that's a really fun, because that's a good small contained.
and it's something that always gets left behind because it's like, well, it doesn't fit in like Lowtown or whatever, and it's like if we can find other ways to make stuff outside of it needing to be a 150-piece Kickstarter, then we'll take it. We can do just like a 30-piece like sand collection or something if this model works.
Yeah.
So
Be
stuff like
so
that.
funny.
Like that's the general thought. Yeah, so it wouldn't
6
be
to 8
just like,
pieces becomes 15 and 20. Well, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be just reordering the same sets all the time. The thing with Wildlands is it's all out of stock, and we need to do a bigger order than we could do with a regular restock.
And we don't have time to do new pieces.
Don't have time to do new pieces.
So that was the other,
There likely would be some new pieces in a lot of the other ones. Yeah. Because also this is the shortest turnaround we're ever going to have on one of these, most likely.
Yeah,
Like with Dungeons, we'd probably still give it
Well,
like
it's going to be
a good
longer
lead up.
because stuff has to get tooled and
Yeah. Does Caverns kind of make burrows unneeded? No, they do different things. They do very different things.
Feel and look very different. There's some this. You know what? I don't think Charles has played with the burrows yet.
I
The
think a lot of
twisting
people have.
over like the overlapping tunnels and like there's some really cool stuff you can do with them. Roller coasters, like underground roller coasters. It's like really really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of burrows is something we should do a master class on it.
Yeah.
We should.
Well,
we should
we
cover
should
it.
save the masterclass for the Reforge when we have the new pieces, because
What, in
that system
2027?
that system wants. There's a couple more things to make a huge difference.
Not a particularly short show tonight. Yep.
Yeah,
Here we are.
It turned out our
Yeah.
this and a bunch of questions is all we needed.
Yeah. We can always talk forever.
Yeah.
Factory having some downtime explains a lot. Yeah, like this campaign is born of a lot of very specific circumstances, and us going like, I bet it would be a good idea for us to do this. This is the safest way to test out a bunch of things we want to do.
Yep.
What's
the fastest, easiest way to run a game found thing so we can test that platform?
Yeah. And it had to be something that wouldn't require any new sculpts because we need the factory's tooling time. The tooling part of the factory needs to be doing Lowtown, but they can be doing casting and painting while they're doing the tooling for Lowtown. So what can we do? What can we have them cast and paint? Trying to keep every part of the factory working on something at the same time without it
and fill up the store and reconfigure the sets and try out game found. It's gonna be very cool.
And don't go broke doing it. Yeah.
It's a good plan. All right.
Yeah.
Don't do a masterclass.
Yeah, no, Burroughs really needs.
Yeah, their point is that they're not in the store, so why do a masterclass? if
Well,
nobody
we
can
did
get
it with
them?
Castles,
Yeah.
and then got all the requests for Castle.
It
That was
a-
the thing with Castles.
we
like,
made
let's
the
do Masterclass-
demand. Yeah.
Let's do this Masterclass on Castles, and then like we did that, and then everybody's like, "Why don't we have these sets?" And it was
Yeah.
like, "Cool. Hey, I bet these sets will sell if we order them now."
Turns out.
And we ordered them, and they were the biggest sellers in that restock.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, so yeah. Oh, the Burroughs needs reconfiguring too, though, was part of the problem. The sets were a little,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what else is
That
there
was,
to?
you know what's wild is like, that was Dungeon of Doom.
That was what 2016, 2017.
I just reconfigured all those sets. I configured all those sets by myself. There was no, like, there's a lot of flaws. Like it was a, there was a plan and a thing, but it is, like we have a system now. We have spreadsheets. We have multiple people looking it over, figuring it out. Like it was, it's so much better when you have a hive mind. It's like D&D, right? You as a group, you can figure out better tactics, hands down, than if you're just like
Our philosophy's
one
changed, too.
underslept person in a dark room.
Our philosophy's changed too, because with Dungeon of Doom as well, the focus was on like we need to sell this Kickstarter,
Yep.
not on we need to.
It was a driver for making it the biggest Kickstarter we'd had to date, which worked, but it wasn't thinking long game. It wasn't. It had we hadn't figured what's going to happen in the web store, what's restockable,
Yeah.
what's whatever. And it led to Caverns Deep, which got even crazier. But yeah.
But also, those two being as big as they were, is like, and then Wildlands being massive,
Yeah.
is what then gave us the capital to be able to rethink things a bit and figure out how to get sustainable.
And each one we learn. You try a different thing and you learn, and you take the best, and it's all part of the process. We couldn't have gotten here without all of it. I mean, don't even start with the castles configurations. That was
Yeah.
But it's other thing. We should wrap this thing up and get out of here because
We're done early.
yeah, right.
8 minutes.
Well, anything could happen between now and so tomorrow afternoon, morning, 11:30 a.m. We're streaming our kickoff stream for GameFound, and then Hobby Hang
Hobby
at
Hang
6
yeah.
p.m.
Yeah, he'll still be hobby hanging tomorrow night. So if
Hamster's
you got specific,
back.
yes, if you got specific Wildlands questions, I'll probably tell them to just like take some unpainted home just to be safe and just be like,
It's a
this
very
way if
good
somebody
idea.
asks for a demo on
Someone's
anything,
gonna
it's just like, I don't know what he's gonna. I don't know what he's planning on painting.
No.
He just got back yesterday, so
He's just
Yeah.
played more. He played
played more Warhammer in 1 week. than he's
six
played his entire life.
40K games in 2 days or something. It's just nonstop war games. So awesome. He got that 2,000 point Necron army painted up and went off and battled up a storm.
Living the dream.
It's awesome. It's so exciting.
Is it 15 hours to launch?
Maybe. What time are we launching? Noon.
15 hours.
Yeah.
Man, okay, so you factor in 8 hours sleep. I have more
Let's
time.
rock and roll.
The 2 hours travel to get home and back.
Woo. So 2 streams, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, and then we're off till next week. We'll be back our regular time for on the Anvil next week. I don't know what we're going to cover then, but we'll see. We'll have to do a
we've
session
got-
brainstorming stretch goals for Unforged after
Unforged.
after we
Break all the
broken
pieces.
through all of our stretch goals.
Yeah, that's what there's the part. I'm trying really hard not to get overly optimistic because I would rather just be completely
let's see what
blown away.
happens.
I would love for us to like literally just blow through the whole stretch goal chart on the first day and then just be like,
Yeah.
well, now we got to make stuff up,
Wouldn't be the first time.
Or we've completely blown through a stretch goal chart. It didn't
We
happen with any of the ones
we
that I was-
blew through faster than we thought, and we're gonna run out and had to rethink what was happening in
Dungeon of Doom
both
feels like one of the most surprising.
cities. I think had
Mhm.
faster momentum than we thought. Castles did not. Dungeons, the Dungeon of Doom was another one.
I was gonna say Dungeon of Doom was such a
figuring out.
huge leap over
Yeah.
the past Kickstarter that I imagine you were probably astounded. It probably got like all of what you got in Castles on the first day.
Yeah, it was
Like-
spicy. That was a fun
Yeah.
run. Woo! All right, well, let's let's get out of here. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, all you folks are so delightful. It was wonderful to meet a bunch of you, or re-see a bunch of you. Is that even a word? See a bunch of you again
Yeah,
at Gen Con.
it's a peanut butter candy.
Re-see peanut butter cuppy. And we will see you, some of you tomorrow, some of you tomorrow night, and some of you next week.
Yes.
Thank you. Good night. Let's go sleep.
Good night, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
That's not what the phrase is. I think it's just I love you, Wisconsin.
You can make it a phrase.
Good night, everybody. That's a phrase.